So we're going to go through it chronologically, and Colin is going to show an early form of gas protection, and you can give me an idea how effective you might think this would have been. He's putting on something called the black veil respirator, which has a cheesecloth or black crepe cloth with a cotton waste pad in the middle, which will be soaked in neutralizing solution, and that should help him filter out some of the gas. And in order to keep that gas out of his eyes, he's put across a pair of cotton goggles with some acetate lenses. Not all that effective, and if you know anything about breathing through wet cloth, inhaling and exhaling is almost impossible. This type of gas protection was used early in the war and was really only used for a short period of time. It was only meant to get the soldier out of the affected area. You really can't fight in this for any extended time. So Colin, what do you think? Do you like that gas protection? No, that's not particularly good. We're going to move on to the next form of gas protection. This is known as the Hypo Helmet, and it's a hood. There we go, and it's got an acetate window in it. It's got a woolen flannel body to it. You notice he's stuffing it down inside of his collar so that he doesn't have any of the gas sort of seep into under his neck and into where he is breathing. The only problem with this one again is it's quite restrictive. You can't really see very much, and of course, inhaling and exhaling through that cotton, we end up with a lot of carbon dioxide building up inside, so he might get a little woozy if he has to wear that for any length of time. Oh, there he goes, he's getting a little woozy. It's not very good against certain gases, so this was an early form of gas protection. I should tell you, though, everybody sometimes considers that at the beginning of the First World War that gas protection didn't exist. It did commercially. Miners and other people in industry had various forms of respirators that they used in industry, and soldiers, the military particularly, the War Office adapted some of the things that already existed. So these were sort of variations on the theme. So the Hypo Helmet was semi-effective, but we had that problem with all the carbon dioxide building up inside, so they decided to develop a different type of hood. This time they made it out of cotton flannelette instead of making it out of woolen serge. They soaked it in sodium hyposulfate, a neutralizing solution. He pulls it over his head, and now he's got, instead of an acetate window to look through, some sealed goggles at the front there. And you can't see it, but on the other side of that thing that's sticking out of his mouth is a bit just like you would see on a scuba diver's mouthpiece. He's clamped down on top of that. Now what happens is he breathes in through the cotton, goes through the neutralizing solution, and hopefully renders the gas ineffective. And as he exhales, he blows out through his mouth, and the flutter valve opens up and lets the carbon dioxide out. This was a great improvement on the earlier version. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's it. Keep moving. But as you can imagine, your eyesight and your vision is restricted. You can't really see very peripherally to the left or to the right. You look fairly straight on, but what tends to happen is the goggles do fog up a bit. Again, this gas protection might provide you with 15 minutes of protection, but it only bought you enough time to get out of the affected area. So an improvement, and in fact, even as we move on through the war, that respirator still was carried in reserve by troops behind the line and as a backup. The next respirator is the gas mask that we would sort of associate now with being a gas mask. He's wearing the 1916 small box respirator. You can see all of this takes time. Ah, yes, here we go. So this one is a bigger improvement. It is a rubberized canvas face piece with goggles on the front and another bit that he can bite down onto, and if he turns sideways, you can see a flutter valve underneath that mouthpiece. So now he can inhale air through that hose, and that hose is sitting inside, or is plugged into a canister filled with neutralizing chemicals, which will hopefully filter out some of the gas. And when he exhales, the flutter valve will open, and it will let the carbon dioxide out, and he won't be inhaling his own exhalation. This was much improved, and soldiers could, to a limited degree, fight wearing a gas mask like this. However, the chemicals inside the canister were only effective for so many hours, and every soldier carried a little piece of paper, a card inside his respirator, and every hour he wore it, he marked it down, and once it got to a certain point, that canister had to be thrown away and a new one attached and have it recommissioned and issued back to the soldier. At the beginning of the war, there weren't enough of these to go around, and they weren't issued to individual soldiers. They were trench stores. They were literally hung on the pegs in the trench. When the soldier left the front line, the other guy would pick it up. By the end of the war, there were enough for everyone. Well, Colin, you like that one? Yeah, I know, it's not so good.